In the last tutorial, I showed you how to make a semi-realistic planet surface shader, but our sun was not that realistic, so just delete the sun in the hierarchy and go to your shading tab and go to the world shading and just set up your camera somewhere on the planet very close to the ground. And yeah, world shading tab, and then grab a math node, just group it, and then delete the inputs and outputs. Set the math node to 2 radians, and then rename this to altitude. Duplicate this, plug it in here, and call this azimuth. Okay. There are still a few things that are wrong with this world shader. It does not work that great yet. And it gives you a nice looking sun, but the degrees or radians now are off a lot for some reason. So I gotta figure that out sometime soon, and I'll make an updated tutorial when I figure it out. But combine XYZ and grab a geometry node and a mapping node. Set the normal in the vector and then the combine XYZ vector into the rotation. Plug that into a separate XYZ, the vector output of the mapping into a separate XYZ, and grab another math node, set it to less than, and plug the X into the value with a threshold of, we need a subtract 1, plug it into there. Multiply this, or like multiply and then subtract, like in this order. I don't know why I decided to do it backwards. But 0.000 or 0.00001, and then plug a divide and 5. And put this in here and call this the angular diameter. I did not spell that right. Diameter. And set this to divide, sorry. Okay, now you want a black body node and set, actually just plug it into here. Keep that as temperature. Set the temperature out here to 5,900. The angular diameter to 0.536. Azimuth of 70. I mean, should work. I'm not sure. I'm kind of just guessing based off of the coordinates here. Or not coordinates, but what angle we're facing. And then an altitude of like 5 maybe. Not quite. Oh, well, we haven't even hooked it up to that yet. Okay. And then multiply the less than by another multiply node down here. The value of 2.56 times 1,000,000. Plug this into the input and call this strength. Okay. Now you want to plug this into here. Just what in the world? Okay. Plug this into here, keep that as color. Plug this into the output and just call this sun mask. And then exit out of there. plug the sun mask into the strength of an emission and the color into the color, emission into surface. That's a bit bright. Oh, sorry, set this to multiply. And now we have a sun over there, a star, and you can mix this uh, with the star field that I made in a previous tutorial. Here, let's just try to figure out azimuth, maybe somewhere there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can see it over there. Here, let's set the azimuth to like, I don't know, 70 should work. Wait, which one is... Here, just set the azimuth to like 85. And obviously, the higher you set the altitude, the more blue it will appear. Oh, right, there's some settings we have to change. Set all of these to 32, or sorry, set the total to 32, transparent to 32, transmission and volume to 32, but then set the glossy to 16, or diffuse to, no, diffuse to 8, and the glossy to 16. And I believe that is all we need for this. Looks a bit odd. If you set the altitude to 0, yeah, it'll be roughly about there. I think -25 is cool looking. Yeah, it's still a bit of a work in progress, but you can play around with it, see what works. I'm just gonna set the altitude to like 75, so we've got a bit more blue in our atmosphere. Or, here, if I set the altitude to like 0 or -25, yeah, there we go. That's a cool shot. And here, if that star was like a blue giant, we could set this temperature to like 35,000 instead, and you can see a lot more blue. Actually, might be a bit hard to see here. I'll grab a cube. Oh, strange. Okay, let's set the azimuth to like, yeah, it's a decent location. Here, maybe to 95. You can see there's a lot more blue light coming off of that. If I set this to like 750, it'll be very, very red. And if I unhide the surface and then unhide the atmosphere, very, very red. If I set this temperature to like 17,000, the light coming off of it will be quite blue. And then to get values like the sun, use 5,900. And that's a bit more Earth-like, but it is a sci-fi planet, so you can use whatever values you want. And just have fun experimenting around with those values.